Alright guys, in this video I want to go over why reverse dieting is really a waste of time and what you should do instead following your fat loss diet. So for those who may be unfamiliar with it, reverse dieting is the concept that basically once you end a diet, you slowly increase your calories with the hope of quote unquote building up your metabolic rate to higher levels than it was before. So basically you can eat as much as possible by making like small, like 50 to 100 calorie adjustments upwards weekly to sort of trick your metabolism into getting faster. And this is really not how things work. The reality is that the individual variation and degree that somebody might adapt upwards metabolically is mostly genetic. This is basically going to be due to subconscious increases in non-exercise activity through thermogenesis, and that's just the stuff that we're just not consciously in control of. So things like fidgeting, things like having a faster heart rate, increased body temperature, little things like that that sort of increase in response to increased calorie intakes. And the biggest issue with reverse dieting, when it's usually done in the typical sense that people will end their diet, say at 2,000 calories, and instead of going directly up to maintenance, they add in like 100 calories. And it takes them a really, really long time to get up to maintenance. And this is problematic because there are long-term adaptations with fat loss, such as reduced thyroid output, such as increased hunger signaling. So basically differences in hunger hormones, mainly ghrelin and leptin. Leptin is basically what triggers fullness, and ghrelin is what makes you hungry. And as you diet and as you get leaner, you're going to have your leptin levels decrease and your ghrelin levels increase. So you're going to have a really hard time feeling full and you're going to get really hungry. This is partially, or honestly probably the main reason why it's really hard for a lot of people to maintain a single digit body fat, is because basically leptin and ghrelin are stored in our body fat. And if we are in a too lean of a state for our bodies, we're going to be really, really hungry, and that gets to be really exhausting to deal with for a lot of people. But you're also going to have increased cortisol, downregulated thyroid, etc. And these are really only going to, these hormonal changes that negatively occurred from fat loss dieting and being in a calorie deficit for an extended period of time are only going to get better once you actually go up to maintenance calories. And so this is really why I recommend for most people coming out of a fat loss phase, instead of reverse dieting in the traditional sense, what you should do is you should take a look over your recent average rate of weight loss over the past 2 weeks. So for example, if you were losing on average a pound per week for the last 2 weeks of your fat loss phase, you're in roughly a 500 calorie deficit. You can basically use the 3,500 calorie rule when you are approximating how many calories to add back in. So if you're losing half a pound, that's 1,750 calories roughly per week, which means you should add in 250 calories. Now, where reverse dieting might come into play here is after you add in that initial amount of food, some people might start dropping weight just as a result of increases in non-exercise activity thermogenesis and subconscious activity processes. Upon which you say, okay, how much weight did I lose? And then you use the same 3,500 calorie rule, then you add in a certain amount of calories back in. So you lost half a pound, you add another 250 calories. That's what I would recommend doing. And that's really sort of how reverse dieting actually happens. It's not something you can actually control, and the typical sense of slowly increasing calories is a recipe for disaster. Like for lots of natural bodybuilders, in fact, like there was like some studies done on this where they actually tracked hormone changes in natural bodybuilders who got down to like 5% body fat. And it took them like 6 months to a year to like recover their testosterone levels, their thyroid output, cortisol, like etc. Lots of different things. So it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're done with dieting and you want to start getting stronger, building some more muscle, to stay in that energy deficit for a long period of time. If your body does adapt upwards and you do start burning more calories just because that's how your genetics work, that's what it might look like. Like some people need to increase their calories by like 1,000. Between the end of the fat loss diet to, being on maintenance. That's just how some people's bodies work. Some people, it's just like one adjustment upwards and then they're chilling. They just maintain their weight. So To conclude, reverse dieting in a traditional sense is a waste of time. What you should do instead of following your diet is just add back in calories to go back up to maintenance as fast as possible, track your body weight, see what's happening there, and then you can basically add in more calories and reverse diet based off of how much your body adapts upwards in response to that higher calorie intake. Hopefully that makes sense. If you guys have any questions, just ask me down in the comments below.